Hello and welcome back to the Real Estate Unlimited podcast. My name is Sierra Steinmetz.
Brian Schuby.
Carrie Steele.
Bill Jones.
And we're the Jones home team.
And this is episode 80, believe it or not, here. So we're getting up there.
80.
We'll start planning what we're going to do for 100 here. That'll be this year here yet. So got some cool stuff. Sierra's kicking us off with Hannah Montana, right? I'll let her talk about a little bit about that. So I was watching her, how old are you, 24? 4, yeah. So my daughter's the same age. So 24 years ago, I was watching her. So apparently she's got something going on. Shuby, we've got big changes in the VA appraisal world, which if it's what I thought I heard, that's probably good news, I think, right? Yeah. If I'm thinking the right thing.
Yep.
Carrie's got why you should hire an agent or some couple circumstances where there. I'm sure we can all chime into there. And I'm into my favorite again. I'm going to go Zillow versus Compass. I just can't get over it. There's just more and more stuff all the time. So we'll come across that here. I have like a book, but I'll try to keep it short. I don't know. We'll see it happen. So Sierra, what do we got?
Okay. If you've ever wanted to stay at the Hannah Montana house, now you might be able to. If you were watching Hannah Montana 20 years ago, you know the iconic house that it was filmed in. Every little girl's dream house, especially when it comes to her closet. It is a Malibu home on Broad Beach. I'm not sure. I don't know the area, but 80 feet of beach frontage in this Malibu home. It was actually listed for sale last July, and it still is for sale for $20.95 million. Or
what a deal.
Or $60K a month. You can rent it. So if that's in your budget, check it out. But yeah, it is still for sale. However, Airbnb
$60
is,
a month.
Yeah, right.
That's
right. It is a massive house. It has 5,600 square feet of living space, 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. Outside, there's the huge deck that looks at the ocean. Sauna.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
So this is all in
that's
that. This is in that house.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where they filmed it? Actually.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I actually was like just on TikTok, and I saw like they had influencers and people in there doing all kinds of promo stuff.
That's why
like
I just figured it was a studio.
Chair. Yeah, no,
I thought so too.
Nope, it was in that
The
house.
actual house.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they've still got all the good memorabilia there. Even downstairs in the videos I was seeing, they still had like the guitars that were like Robbie Ray's guitars and whatever. Yeah. It was played by her dad. So they've preserved it quite well. Or at least I don't know if it looked like that the entire time or if they redid it for the anniversary. But Airbnb is partnering with the owner of this house, and they're giving away 10 one-night stays for up to 4 people between April 6th and 16th to get the complete pop star experience. So
that's coming up here. So when you're watching this, it's like right now. It's coming up here probably. So
yeah.
you better get in quick.
Yeah, it starts like Wednesday, I think, is when you can submit a request to stay. I don't know how all that
Spring
works.
break 2027.
Right.
Did you enter this?
No, I
Are you going to?
Too bad I freaking just went on vacation. I'd be flying
Alexis,
out to
if you're listening.
Right.
I didn't even know that was well, how do you know how to register? Not to put you on the spot.
From how it sounded like you just go on, you look up the house, and you submit a request to stay like you would book an Airbnb. Like I couldn't find much more actual information on it, but in this article, that's kind of what it made it sound like. So
I don't give a crap
probably
about
a bidding process. So if you give me your credit card, I'll bid on your
you'll figure it out then.
Right.
Yeah. See, I don't give a crap about this closet or there. What I'd want just beachfront property. That'd be amazing.
Dressing up as Hannah Montana.
Oh
yeah.
Wigs and all.
That'd be some good pictures.
And even like the kitchen and everything too still looked like the 2000s. Like, and they had the old props. Like there's the table with like the rainbow legs, whatever, all that kind of stuff in there. So I just think that's insane that they're doing 10 free stays for people to be able to.
Oh, here it is.
There you go.
Here it is.
Yeah.
We'll flip to this here real quick.
Cool.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, I like the house
insane.
itself. Like that's a really great house.
So I don't remember this from the TV show. Was it?
Well,
like
I wonder
that?
if there might be more than one kitchen. Or if what they used as the kitchen in the show wasn't actually.
Right. That might have been a studio kind of thing. Or
like it was like a different room that they made.
Sure.
I'm not sure, but.
That's still amazing.
Yeah.
I like that last room.
Well, or like you said, they could have changed, maybe that's
redid it for the anniversary.
That's true.
And
Total views, 25,000. Could be yours for $20 million.
The freaking Hannah Montana house. That's insane.
Well, Stacey Ross, congratulations on a nice listing there. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, no, if you were someone like me watching it 20 years ago, pretty exciting news for us. Go register to stay.
I'm not proud of it, but I was watching it too. So. Oh, man. Well, that's cool. All right, well, I'm going to figure out how to register for that because that would be amazing.
Jones Home Team.
Yeah, we'll have to have we'll have to do our team
gosh.
retreat there. So.
Oh, and I didn't mention there's also a sauna, Hannah Montana karaoke, and whatever that means, and a 1-bedroom detached guest house.
I wonder if that was that last picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because it had the double doors opening with the bed there. I would just need that space. That's it.
Right.
An air fryer. Air fryer in a bathroom, and that's
just
it.
access to the beach. Yeah, that's all I'd be looking for.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, Chube, you want to go next?
Sure.
All right, good news in VA land?
Yeah, and I know some of these are still, people are kind of looking at them. I just saw a Facebook post from a couple of area lenders here that kind of got this, so that's kind of where I got it from. So starting May 1st, the VA is streamlining some of its property requirements, making the home buying process obviously smoother and removing a few of the common hurdles that have already that have slowed deals down in the past. So it's kind of nice because I know that bill, I think, passed the Senate then as well and was headed, I had talked about a couple weeks, that was headed to the president's office to be signed into law. So it seems like the government's trying to make some things easier on the home buyer to be able to afford a home. So some of those changes here, peeling paint repairs will no longer be required on homes built after 1978. Now I guess when you're thinking about that, homes built before 1978, if they are chipping and peeling paint, they still will require that to be scraped and repainted. So
I feel like that's already a thing, isn't it? Or I mean, I know they don't.
I had thought it was, but I don't know. That like if it was after
after 78,
you didn't have to do it.
Yeah,
but
maybe that's just with convention. I mean, FHA or USDA. I don't know because VA. Again, I don't know. It's just what it was
right. Yeah.
Detached structures like sheds, barns, and outbuildings won't be held to the same repair standards as the main home.
Thank God.
Yeah,
which
no
we've
kidding.
all run into sheds or
The
outbuildings.
big old barn, like, it'll be $30,000 to paint this barn that you should tear down.
on.
Like, no.
That barn's just going to exist. Nobody's even going to use it.
Nobody's been in it in
paint
30 years.
But
So, yeah.
We don't really deal with this one a whole lot, but builder-related radon requirements are being rolled back. So I'm assuming if you're utilizing a VA loan to build a new construction, I'm guessing they require you to have it checked for radon, and if it's high in radon,
on a build.
Yes.
So that's okay.
Yeah. Builder. Well, it says builder-related, so I'm going to assume it's on new construction.
Sure.
So that was kind of the three that they got so far. So the bottom line, fewer unnecessary conditions, less friction, and more efficient path to closing for our veterans. So just something to keep an eye out on. I know there's a lot of agents who aren't well versed in VA loans, and obviously that can sometimes make it more difficult on a buyer to get an accepted offer on a home, just because there's that bad.
Yeah, because the seller looks at it like, oh my gosh, all these hoops are gonna have to jump through.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Yeah, so what common flagged item? Yeah, peeling paint, faulty wiring, roof damage, missing handrails. The handrails just kill me sometimes. Where it's a couple little steps and then you slap up some 2x4s and it's magically okay somehow. Then.
Yep. And again, I think it's important to note that a lot of VA loans, still can be closed within, the same time frame as most conventional loans and stuff like that too. So
that's cool.
We always used to always tell people like, hey, 45 to 60 days for VA loans, but it seems like they've really got those narrowed down and closed within 30 days. So
and sometimes it's not even the lender. Sometimes it's just the appraiser and the inspector and getting everything moved up to the first part of whatever the requirement is. So if the contract is, say, 10 days and they do it on day 10, and then they do the appraisal and they push that out and they do they send it to the underwriter at the very last day. Every time they push that ball forward, you're looking at like that 45 days versus getting the inspection on the second day, getting, the appraiser in there and start the steps way early in the process. So.
That's like whenever I'm working a VA loan, I'm more than likely not writing it out for 45 days unless it's something to where it's rural and they might need to do like a septic, a well, everything else that might take a little bit more time. But I would rather just tell the lender, this is the date I put on the contract, let's shoot for that, let's get moving. Like, I know we have periods to get inspections scheduled, but if we can do it sooner, do it. Like, just get everything on the road, because again, like you guys just said, that's why a lot of sellers are like, oh, I don't know if I want to deal with all of those hoops. But really, it's just getting the okay on certain things.
Even with like a conventional loan, if you're out in the country, you're probably still doing a septic inspection at the minimum.
Right.
You know, you might tack on the water, but yeah, for sure. You know, if we're out in the country, I always suggest, hey, I would do a septic inspection. Yep. So even with that, you're more than likely still doing those with whether it's conventional, FHA, USDA, or VA.
Mm-hmm. Well, and most of the time, whoever's doing the septic can do the well test as well.
Yep.
And talking out of both sides of my mouth, like I just said about pushing everything or pulling everything to the first part of the contract, if buyer and seller both need more time, because sometimes that is the case where the other person's house isn't ready yet, or they're really trying to get as many days as possible and everybody's in agreement, then you do push them days out to the end. So,
but I think it's also like if it gets to a point where you need an extension because you just need a little more time, but you've shown the whole time that like, okay, we're getting everything pushed through. Like, we're not trying to just drag it on now. I think that definitely goes over better.
Sometimes it's definitely out of your hands, because if it is like spring or summer where everybody's busy getting somebody out there, or the weather's not cooperating, sometimes that's just what you have to do.
Right.
Did they say anything about the pest inspections? I didn't see anything. Like Lance said,
I have not seen anything at that.
So that's always been a thing too. That you required pest inspection, and it has to be done for that. So, which is a good thing. I mean, not the pest necessarily, but the just overall. I mean, the vets. I mean, they earn that.
Right.
You know, they have that. It shouldn't be something that works against them, because I feel like it probably did, especially when the market's super competitive. Like, oh, here's this VA loan, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, I have a family member who I helped purchase a home, and you know, we were working with he was a veteran working with the VA loan. This would have been 4 or 5 years ago at this point, when the market was extremely competitive, and you know, he was pre-approved with a VA loan, and we wrote so many offers, just kept losing. So finally, he's like, I'm just going to switch over to a conventional loan just so that way we can get the house.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's one of those, you just kind of feel bad, because what benefits, you know, did they miss out on having to switch from the conventional to the...
We should have VA housing. Like, we should have, like we have Habitat for Humanity. We should have, like, vet housing.
Yeah.
Not that they have to, like, not like they're forced to go there, but they have that option of a brand new build in a, you know, cul-de-sac, subdivision, country, whatever, that meets the standard that... Tiffin's kind of small, so it's hard to say.
I wonder if they do.
That.
Yeah, I mean in our market, I don't think we have anything like that. But
I know big cities, they've got like a pro football player that built, you know, a homeless, not homeless, but like for vets. You know, they make like tiny homes or different things for vets
to make it
happen.
I
had a friend too, closing today, who is still actively serving, but ended up going with a conventional loan because he was fortunate enough for it to make sense to do that way. Right. And he has heard me talk about how I've struggled to get people using VA into homes because of all the reasons that we just named. And he was like, yeah, I'd rather just make it simpler on everybody that way he's not stressed and trying to make it work, which is so terrible that it's literally the benefit that he earned, and it
works against him.
Yeah.
And we just talked about that a few episodes ago, where it's maybe not always the VA, you know, they feel like I got to use this type of loan, you know, I've earned that, but sometimes it's better to go conventional, or even FHA. I've seen that happen several times, where financially makes better sense for them. But so,
I mean, but on the bright side, my family member had bought 4 or 5 years ago when interest rates were 2 and 3%. So I'm sure that worked out.
Right. Yeah.
All right, Carrie.
All right, I'm only going to stick with 5, just because there's a laundry list of...
when to hire a realtor.
Yep, 5 times when hiring a realtor just makes sense. So there was actually something that happened in my career that prompted this whole thing, and that's somebody that ended up going for sale by owner because of one of these reasons. So I have represented an estate in the past, kind of going off my list here. I'm not going to read word for word, but if you've got a family of siblings, this is a really great example. You've got a family of siblings 3, 4, 5, 6, and everybody's out of town, or couples in town, couples out of town, and everybody's in agreement that they want to get the most money, because after you break it down, after you pay the attorneys, blah, 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 each kid's going to get X amount of dollars, assuming that they're going to get something from this estate, right? So then the kids decide that they want to do it for sale by owner, because there's, I'll just say 5 or 6, half the people want a realtor, half the people want to do it for sale by owner. You've got siblings that are all arguing. In this case, it was just 2, and they were in town. And it's like, if they could convince everybody else that's out of town, look, this is something that we are going to have to take on. We're going to have to do the showings. We're going to have to take all these phone calls. We're going to have to take all this.
Yeah, while the rest of you guys get
the rest
to
of
sit
you are
at home
sitting
and
back,
get the money.
You've got your hands behind your head going, oh, yeah, whatever you want to do is fine. And they're meeting people. They're putting their kids' schedules on hold or their family schedules on hold, their work on hold, and their phones blowing up. And so it makes sense, regardless if you have 1 person, 5 people, 10 people. If 5 or 10 siblings can't meet to let all of those people go in the house, then either those 2 siblings that are handling it all should get a bigger piece of the pie, because they're essentially doing the job of a real estate agent, and while the other ones are sitting back netting the profits, or just get a real estate agent, because then, and this is, and also the case in divorce, if you have a real estate agent handling this as siblings, as spouses, whatever, then you have somebody in the firing zone. Okay, I can say it's not something that Bryan and I, or spouses for instance, Bryan and I didn't agree on this price. The realtor suggested it or something, or Bryan and I didn't agree to this inspection. It's what the buyers wanted to do, and we can point and say, oh, we can be the bad guy. We're okay with that. We're okay with being. We're not marriage counselors. We're not, we're not counselors for the family, but it's nice.
I feel like we are sometimes.
We are. We're not paid to do that, but it's nice to know that when there's a divorce, or even happily married couples, heck, I mean, it's nice to point fingers at somebody, and having a mediator, having a realtor, having somebody in there that can help pull the emotion out of it and say, look, siblings, you have all of grandma's shit in there. It needs to be out by May 2nd, or we can't list this house. Now the 2 siblings or whoever it is aren't the ones trying to find everybody and tell everybody, come get grandma's chest, come get grandpa's guns, come get, the car in the backyard. They can have all of this done by the real estate agent. The real estate agent saying, hey, if you guys want to meet your deadlines, if you don't want to keep paying attorney fees and drag this out forever, this is a good deadline to adhere by. Yep. So, I don't know. Rambling. But I mean, honestly, you can for sale by owner a lot of cases, but when you've got stuff like that, it's just easier. I mean, we take our jobs very seriously, and we will do everything we can to mediate some of the problems that we can foresee happening before you even know there's an issue, because you don't know what we know, and that's what you're paying us for our knowledge.
I mean, I literally just yesterday was in a conversation where, and this wasn't even an estate situation or anything, it's just one couple, but it was just like, we tried to do it on our own and it never pans out, and we just don't want to deal with it anymore.
We're just like arguing with each other.
And I was like, listen, I will take it all off your hands. Like, just let me do it. That is my job.
That's
I want to do it for you. Like,
yes.
I don't want you to be stressed about it. Selling your house should not be stressful if you have a good agent. Things are going to come up. Things come up. It
or should be less stressful.
But
not no stress.
It should be much less stressful if you can put that on someone else that you're hiring to take care of it, and they take their job seriously. Yes. Yeah. Like, let me take all the angry phone calls and dumpster fires and everything. Like,
stupid. Whoa, will you do a land contract? Will you rent it?
Right.
Yeah, filter out all those.
Let me deal with it.
I think the family thing is probably the crazy. I mean, because I've been in that situation a million times now at this point, and it's like, if you just literally say, let me be the bad guy, because that one person that's local that ends up having to do all the heavy lifting, literally heavy lifting, moving stuff, just all the things. Managing all that, and all the out-of-town relatives, probably God love them, but they just want the most money.
Yeah.
Why we got to hire an agent? Why we got to pay somebody for this? Why can't somebody just do that? Well, who's doing it? That person that's boots on the ground there, that's going to get no more money or sometimes less money. Mm-hmm. So why would they want to do that?
I literally was just at a listing appointment the other day, and the one sibling had, I think there was like 5 or 6 siblings involved, but the one sibling that was showing me around the potential listing, he's like, I said, hey, we need to hire somebody to take care of the lawn for the summer until we get the house sold, and the siblings are like, no, we don't, we'll do it. And he's like, all right, well, let me know when you want to come do it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
No one volunteered. And
nobody
he's like,
will.
This is my exact point. This
Nobody
is why
will.
we're
That's
hiring
right.
somebody to take care of the lawn.
Yep.
Yep.
Good
So-
for them to
Yeah.
be self-aware.
That one we just sold full of
Yes,
stuff
for
was the
real.
exact same thing. It was 4, I think, siblings out of town, and all of them like, oh no, we got to we got to do an auction for all the stuff and doing this and that. And then the one poor sibling that was there spent weeks or months getting stuff around.
God, yeah.
And it was the exact same thing. Well, who's going to do what? And they scheduled like 4 or 5 days to come do it, and nobody showed up, or they'd show up for like 10 minutes.
And they can all be
yeah.
really close siblings. They could all be, and that's why a lot of times, like, the death of somebody rips families apart, and this is why something so simple. Nobody intended not to do the lawn, but they just know they're not going to drive 2 hours to clean up a city
Right.
lot or something.
But if you're not, then you can help chip in towards the lawn care.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's got to be a compromise.
Well, we could talk about that all day, but yeah, you definitely need some help or some mental assistance getting through navigating some of that.
Well, and that's the other thing. If you need help understanding contracts, so when hiring real estate agents makes sense, not everybody's going to be savvy or business savvy or understand any of the terms. So if you are in a position where you need to sell a house and you don't understand the rules, the laws, all that stuff, yeah, you can do for sale by owner, but just be prepared to understand what you're getting yourself into, because there's
Yep.
a lot more than just, oh, here, I want to buy it. Okay, sign this paper, and then you can just come and take it on June 1st. That's not how it works.
Right.
If so, none of us would have jobs, right?
But Carrie, back in 1942, I bought a house on a napkin, and
That's right, and
made it work. So
Good word and a handshake, right?
That's like I had a for sale by owner right after I first started. Well, I was representing the buyer, and it was a for sale by owner house. And the sellers ended up paying me a commission because we got into it, and they were like, oh my gosh, we did not realize everything that was going to go into like trying
Right.
to sell our house.
It's a lot. It's a lot. If the property's a fixer-upper, this one, I think a lot of people go the opposite way. I think a lot of people try to sell fixer-uppers for sale by owner, and they do as is, where is, thinking that they're just going to, write it on a napkin and call it a day.
Yep.
But there's legal liabilities that they are really walking on a teeter-totter with.
Sure.
By not doing some of the things that they're required to, up to and including they're going to get predatory offers. They're going to have neighbors knocking on their door trying to get just the lot,
Yeah.
or just offering them less, and then not disclosing what they know about that house, just to
I
say
was going
it's,
to touch on that.
they say as is, where is, and then they're just like, oh, you're taking it how it is.
Right.
Like, meanwhile, there's all the, there's roof damage and there's mold inside and the wiring shot and all that stuff. But
I didn't know I had to talk about the buried gas tanks or anything like that.
it's as is, where is, and you knew that, buddy.
Yeah. Indian burial ground. Who said? Yeah. That would,
Yeah, and then when you need to relocate, so education, having an educated realtor that can help you navigate that process. We just talked about in the beginning of this podcast about how you can drag out a contract or make it go really fast if you are knowledgeable in how all of those things work together. So if you're selling your house for sale by owner and you don't understand that, and you've got a real estate agent on the other side that does understand that, their client needs time and you don't need time, you're probably going to get screwed, because the real estate agent knows what they're doing, and they understand that if they push those things, and they're not doing anything illegal.
they're not trying to screw you over.
They are within
Yeah.
their contract, and they are working for their buyers. So again, there's a lot of times, way more than 5, when hiring a realtor makes sense. These are just some of the things that I was thinking about as like my top 5 for today.
Yeah, I think that's one thing where the whole court analogy, you don't go to court and use the prosecutor. If you're the defendant, you're not using a prosecuting attorney, or vice versa. You want your own representation, you want your own person. So they're not actively trying to pull one over on you, but their fiduciary duty is to their client, whether it be buyer or seller, make sure that they're doing them the best job possible. So, all right. So I can't imagine moving and not using, moving out of your area and not using an agent. I mean, can you imagine like if I'm moving to Florida or Arizona, wherever, and you don't know anything about the area? I mean, it's one thing if you grew up in a town, kind of, I know where I want to be on the south side of town, but I'm moving to Chicago. I don't know anything about the different areas. I couldn't imagine not utilizing an agent or that local knowledge.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll have to make an argument someday why not to use an agent, or what would be a reason why not hire us?
I mean,
I don't know what that is, but
you yourself was a former agent, and your license is on.
Yeah,
like,
right.
it's
Maybe
on hold, or
but even still, you didn't keep up on everything. You don't have access to all the
maybe it
same
was 2
stuff.
years ago.
So yeah, maybe right.
There's just not a lot of time.
Oh my gosh.
Not a lot of times when it makes sense not to use an agent.
That is my favorite, because there's someone in here in town that I work with, and they had their license 30 years ago, and they still talk about like, oh yeah, I was an agent, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that was 3 decades ago, so that's not A little bit's changed. So
We didn't even have Zillow yet.
yeah, right. Like the internet wasn't even available then, so not quite the same world we
funny.
live in. But all right, cool. All right, well, I got to go back to Zillow, Compass again for the 400,000th time probably at this point. But reason I'm touching on this here today is we're trying to get. So we talked, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago about how Zillow had their new Zillow preview thing coming up. It's kind of like their own little coming soon or whatever you want to call it. And how does that affect us agents? How's that going to affect the public? And what's it going to do for us? So I asked the board, I said, okay, I belong to 3 different MLSs. I've sent messages to all of them. One of them got back with me within about a week here now, or since we put this out. The other 2 I haven't heard anything back from here. So what are us agents to do? How are we supposed to navigate this? I know the Zillow preview has not started yet. I don't know that we'll necessarily utilize it or not, but how do we go by what they're doing versus like what the MLS rules are when MLSs have different rules? How do we navigate that? So how do we best serve our clients? So I figured I'd just do a short, I say in quotes, I guess, recap on what it looks like as far as, I got all kind of notes here. Let's see if we pull this up here then. So one of the CMLS slams this as a false narrative about this coming soon partnership. So again, we're going back to Compass, starting their private listing network. So I'll ask you guys here. I got a little trivia question. So if I'm a Compass agent and I'm selling this, and I'm not trying to pick on Compass, it's kind of like where this all started from. How many of these private or these coming soon or private market listings or whatever, I can't think what they call them here, but how many of those went that first before they went to the actual MLS? Like what percentage do you think of Compass listings went as their private exclusive listings versus just going on the MLS?
Like they sold them through that way?
No,
or
they just started
went
that way. Yeah.
This is either going to be really high or really low.
Well,
I'm just not sure which one.
I don't know. I think it's low, but
So they went
It's
to their client and
Compass.
said that
I'm going to guess it's low too. I'm going to guess it's probably 2 or 3% maybe.
I was going to say 12. Still thinking really
5.
low.
55%
Oh
holy
my
crap.
of their new listings began as a private or coming soon in February 2025, never reaching the MLS on day one. So more than half.
I would like to see how they're selling that.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not trying to bash on it. Maybe it's awesome. Maybe it's the best thing ever. I don't know. Like it's just not really in our market, so it doesn't really, it's nothing we can really point to, I guess. And maybe that's a little bit misleading. Again, I'm pulling data from several different places, throwing it into chat. Hey,
Sure.
make this all make sense. So don't sue me, Compass. I'm not saying this as gospel, but maybe part of that is coming soon then as well. So that's 5,500 private exclusive listings available to the Compass agents at any given time. So again, this is saying that it's exclusive to them. I think we still have access to that somehow. But Zillow's big contention is it's behind not necessarily a paywall, but a registration wall. So again, it's not openly active. So I've never even been on Compass's site. I don't know how to navigate it. I don't know what. So I don't know if you can go on there and just say, hey, I want to see these listings, or I have to put it in Sierra Steinman's head, Sierra Steinman's a Remax, whatever, to opt in to get this, which I'm assuming they're going to start marketing to you and sending you stuff and doing with that. So that's Zillow's problem, is it's behind basically a paywall, a registration wall. So this is where it gets dicey then. So Compass's own data says that pre-marketed listings were associated with an average higher final close price of 2.9%. So their argument is that they sell for 2.9% higher on their private network then. So
Because they have to charge more for the paywall.
I don't know.
Like that's immediately I'm thinking like our agent's gonna have to pay more to opt in because now they're taking more out of their pocket.
I don't think that they're paying him anymore, but their argument is if I'm Sam and Sally seller selling 123 Main Street, if I use Compass's first step marketing thing, I'm going to get 2.9% higher. And again, this is probably a cherry picked window, which we know we can all do that with data. You can go to data and say, if I do the whole year, it doesn't look really good for my argument. But I narrow it down to this 4 months in the middle of the year. It looks amazing for me. So I don't know where they're pulling the data
I'd like
from.
to see how many of those sites were dual agency.
Right.
Well,
right.
and I think that's it. I think that's what they're trying to do because within Compass,
1,000%.
Yeah, within Compass, that I think is that not the point?
Sure. Right.
Not, I guess not dual agent. I guess no. I'm thinking
Agents in the
Compass
same
agents
brokerage.
or agents within
I'm
that
curious
brokerage.
to see how many are actually dual agency though.
That I haven't seen any
That
data on
gives
that.
you just
then.
like a few extra days to get your clients through over everybody else.
Yeah, and like how well are you actually, if it's dual agency, again, we've all been there, done that, but how well in that position, are you watching out for your buyer as well?
Yeah, it's hard.
Are
if
they
you're
paying?
diligent,
Are
yeah.
they paying more? Hey, not trying to
Yeah.
pressure you, but at the same time, before this house goes out to the public,
Yeah, it's just about to go to the MLS here.
you have your
100,000
chance
people are
to,
going to see
to
it.
make an offer right now for. You better offer over ask price before it hits
That's
the
the
MLS.
legal way to pressure them into
Yeah,
making
I
a
guess
quick
so.
decision.
So the counter argument to that then too. Okay, so maybe I don't know what data set they use, but 2.9% higher. But the argument is what would it have been had it hit the open market? So maybe that was
Sure.
during a big rush or certain markets that are looking at that. So if it's 2.9% higher, so what if it went out to the entire MLS? Would have been 4.5% higher.
Yeah.
There's no way. You can't
There's
figure it
nothing
out.
comparable.
There's no way to figure that out then. So Zillow says in its 2025 analysis that homes off MLS nationally sold for 1.5% less. Certain areas was 3.7% less. So Compass' argument, it's selling for 2.9% more, which to me is kind of a self-serving data. Zillow doesn't really have a dog in the fight. They're just saying these openly marketed, I guess they do have a dog in the fight, but it's selling for substantially more if it goes to the open MLS versus their private listing network. Which again goes to where Zillow wanted to ban or still actively banning these listings, I think, that aren't going MLS wide or not making the entire,
That's like
fair
having a
distribution.
Ford Ranger out in the driveway, and the neighbor will buy it for $3,900, but if you put it on Marketplace, you can get $5,000 for it.
Right, right.
And the neighbor's okay with the $3,900, cool, but they
Sure.
literally could have made $5,000
Yeah.
on it.
And there's just such a minimal chance for multiple offers
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Like if it's
There's no
only going out
competition.
to that many people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and again, Zillow, again, their thing. So their own internal documents that can come out of all this lawsuit. So these listings are the lifeblood of our company. No listings mean no eyeballs, mean no sales. And where we don't have, many friends as far as for making that happen. I think they're getting a lot more friends. I'm going to get to that here too, is what they're looking at. So not to rehash, you can look at the last couple episodes. I've gone on and on about this. So Compass, Rocket, Redfin, they've all got their 3-year deal for these exclusive listings. And again, I don't know anybody that around here or Northwest Ohio that goes to Redfin to check out listings. Nothing against Redfin. They might be fantastic. I've been on their site once or twice probably.
Something has led me there, and I've been like, oh, I'm on
Yeah.
Redfin.
So that's where these exclusives are going to go. But if I'm the normal consumer, I guess in my world anyways, most people go to Zillow. They go to realtor.com, maybe homes.com, things like that. Not to Redfin or Compass's site exclusively. So again, that's a whole argument is where do you want to be? Is self-serving for Zillow to say it should all be here because we're the 800-pound gorilla? But that's where most people go. That's where the most eyeballs are going to be. So who joined in the fight here now too? So it was, who was it? Remax, Keller Williams. I lost my notes here.
Home Services of America, United Real Estate, and Side, whatever that is.
Okay, yeah. So they all preemptively joined in with Zillow. We're going to make sure our listings get to you, especially if it's one of these new listings. But now there's 24 more brokerages that joined in on this. So it sounds like Zillow's stacking up the wins here. Zillow announcing it's had 24 new brokerages and franchises to the Zillow preview. Berkshire Hathaway, Home Services, Ingalls and Volkers, I don't even know who that is, Serhant Group, Sampson Properties, and again, that's on top of Keller Williams, Remax, a couple other brokerages like that. So there's 800 other brokerages that have signaled interest in using the Zillow preview. Again, I don't know how they get these numbers. They haven't called us, I mean, we'll gladly use it, but nobody's called us and said we're going to do it then. Again, rapid adoption. So yeah, I won't read through all this here then too. Here's a big list of who it was. But there's obviously either a grassroots call for this, like the people really want this, or it's out there now that it's just being forced. That Compass is kind of making this happen. So everybody's like, okay, what do we do? So Zillow's saying, we'll go ahead and do this. So Compass did drop their lawsuit that it had against Zillow about basically, is this good for the consumer or not? Because Zillow came out with this Zillow preview. So Zillow saying it's a win, Compass backed off. Compass saying, well, we no longer need to sue you because you're doing what we want you to do anyways. So kind of they're both claiming a victory there. EXP kind of out in left field, not to pick on them, but they're going with an exclusive partnership with Realtor.com, Homes.com, but they're making it non-exclusive. So Zillow can pick up their feed then as well. So it just gets like, this whole thing is just nutty. It's like
This is so convoluted.
I know it is. I'm trying, and again, I got pages of crap I was going to read to this, but it just, would make all our ears bleed at this point.
I know,
because
it seems like, well, if it's not this, then it's that, and if it's not this, then it's that, and they're just going to keep doing it, like moving faster than not the consumer, but like.
I feel like we've lost the plot at this point. Like everyone's just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna do my own thing then, because you're doing your thing.
Literally,
I don't like it, so I'm gonna do it my way because I like it better.
Yeah, right. So then again, it goes to this. I got like 5 different articles here I was going to pull up, but this one too. If you go and then look at the map, then this is just kind of a AI rendering thing. But where are you going to go to find a listing for sale then too?
Right,
You're gonna have those. Oh, I'm looking in South Tiffin, Ohio. Great. Well, you go on the MLS, there's 10 listings, and then you go to Compass, there's 2 or 3 that aren't on the MLS, and then you go to Redfin, and there's something else there. I just don't know what that's going to look like. So then the MLSs, that's where I'm at then too. So I go to them and say, what do we do here? So we got this Compass or this Zillow preview that's coming up here, but that's in odds of your MLS rules. So your MLS rules for our MLS is it's got to be, if we actively list the property for sale, it's got to be on the MLS within 1 business day. But if we're utilizing this Zillow preview, are we going to be out of compliance with that then? So the one got back with me and said, hey, as long as you have your home on the market within that 1 business day, you're fine. So we as agents will be able to utilize this Zillow preview, get all the bells and whistles that Zillow offers and all the extra promotion, all the extra placement, position your seller in a good spot. But if you go past that 1 business day, suddenly you're in violation of the MLS rules, which to us agents, and
so you better list it on Zillow preview first thing in the morning and then let it ride through the whole day and then right before.
So I'm going to go a little deeper into that then too. So what does that do? So I'm representing a seller. I want to put them in the best light possible. I want to give them as much exposure as possible. If Zillow's saying, hey, we're opening up the checkbook and we're going to give you, banger promotion on your property if you use Zillow preview, it's basically my duty to almost use that at this point. So I want to make sure my seller's in the best position, but I don't want to get slapped with a $2,000 or $5,000 fine by the MLS because I'm outside of this 1 business day and not adhering to clear cooperation, which that's a whole nother rabbit hole we could go down then too. So the NRA's backed off of what they're doing and enforcing with that. So are we going to get in trouble, or does it even matter? We got to do what's best for our client. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to navigate this for us. How do we utilize this without also then getting in trouble? So I asked the boards, what can we do with this? The one board, I'm not going to name them, but the one board got back with me and said, yes, as long as you put it in Zillow preview and then get it in the MLS within that 1 business day, you should be, we're understanding, within compliance of this. Great. Sounds good. 10 minutes later, they email me back and say, never mind. I talked to somebody else at the board. You need to talk to RE/MAX and Zillow on how you're going to handle this. So,
what?
Yeah. So
it's literally an MLS fine.
No, right.
What?
So I'm like, my mind explodes, melts a little bit. Then I'm like, this makes your original answer answered all my questions.
What?
Yes, we can do this, and we're within your rules. And you immediately come back and say, never mind. We're not sure. Check with other people.
Gosh.
So I of course fire back a big old email like, no, this makes no sense. Your first answer made sense. Your second answer makes no sense. We're not checking with RE/MAX and Zillow.
It's not their.
It's not
it's
their.
not their
it's literally
rules.
an MLS.
Yeah. You are the ones that are going to
Great. Okay,
fine
you're not
us
fining us
if we're outside of this.
No, perfect. I talked to Zillow and Realtor and Zillow and RE/MAX and they said they don't care. So
yeah. So where are we at? Are we good or are we not?
Put it in the shredder.
So I sent, and again, I'm not going to put anybody in blast, but I sent a very nice email back to them like, we need clarification for this for our agents, and it's still been crickets. Granted, it's Monday now. It's been the weekend, so. And none of this is in place yet, so maybe they're trying to get their ducks in a row. They don't want to give us the wrong answer, but.
Do you think this preview is a way to stay ahead of FSBOs? Total sidetrack, side road?
I don't know. I don't know that so much apply because it goes for.
Is it irrelevant?
Yeah, for listed properties is where it's going to go. So it's not going to do anything for.
But FSBOs weren't on MLS, so if there's like this preview.
But Zillow handles their FSBOs differently anyways, I think. So I don't think it would matter to go into that. So, but then the MLS is, of course, too, going back and forth between all of this. And I've got books and books of stuff listed. So markets work best when information is broadly shared. Rules are applied fairly and brokers compete on service rather than control over access of the information. So that's kind of several of these MLS stances, is that this broad availability of listings is the best way to kind of move forward. But that serves their interest best then too, because if all of us, kind of like you said, Sierra, start having listings on a million different platforms, what's the MLS even matter at that point anymore? So especially when they can't give us clarification on their own rules. makes no sense. Like, I'm like, are we going to get fined or not? I don't know. Check with somebody
It
else.
turned into such a shit show.
Yeah. Check with somebody else, not us. We're not going to get you because they don't want to put their name
Like,
on,
I don't think
on that.
our brokerage, but like, there's definitely brokerages where if you don't have those MLS rules backing you up, you've got to fire or whatnot. What do you call MLS photos from 1998 that are still out there because they weren't told to take them down, or something just as simple as that.
So I don't know what the answer is, and I don't mean to keep railing on this at all, but I mean, it truly affects how we're going to do our jobs. It's going to affect what the consumer is going to see and what they're not going to see, I guess, more so. So if you want clear rules, I guess maybe reach out to your MLS, maybe don't. I guess I would at least try. Or you're going to get a solid. And I'm trying to dog on them, but I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous when you give very specific questions, and one, they don't get back with you, or two, they get back with you, and
know.
then
Because,
I'm sure they don't.
You're paying attention to this, and this is like, I mean, it is changing.
Right.
Like how much stuff happens from week to week.
Right.
It's just. Psh.
And again, I'm not trying to be hypersensitive to this, but when it affects, so
it's the whole. It's
when
affecting
you
the
get
whole industry.
a $2,500 fine,
Yep.
that hurts. That's going to kill a lot of agents then too. I mean, I wouldn't even know what I'd do with that. That's insanity. But they're going to, oh, you're outside of our rules. Well, I'm asking for clarification, and you're not giving it to me. So,
Sheesh.
we're playing in the sandbox, but the sandbox is moving and shaking and turning it upside down. We don't know what to do with it. So, all right, I'm not going to promise to not keep bringing this up or going on it because it's just kind of near and dear to me at this point then too. So on that note, we'll leave it go here. That's episode 80. Check back to 81, and I guess we'll have to come up with another milestone thing. Episode 90. We got to do something crazy for 100. I don't know what.
Like the 100 day of school. You like dress up as little old ladies.
That would be fun.
We go stay at the Hannah Montana.
That's what I was going to say. We do our 100th
okay.
episode from the Hannah Montana house then.
That would be sick.
On that, like, share, give us your questions, and we will see you next time.